Some photographs don't just hold faces. They hold secrets too heavy to carry in words. A photograph is proof that the past is never really gone. It only changes the way it looks at you. The more you stare at an old photo, the more it stares back, demanding to be remembered. Some pictures are louder than voices, echoing stories that were never told aloud. A forgotten photograph can feel like a trapdoor opening into a past you thought was locked. In the stillness of a photograph, you realize how quickly everything moved without you noticing. Sometimes the picture doesn't just capture you, it follows you into the future. A photo is a mirror of who you were, but sometimes it reflects who you still might become. Some photographs arrive too late, reminding you of the people who are already gone. The real weight of a photo isn't the paper, it's the emotions pressed into its silence. Every old picture is an unfinished sentence, daring you to remember the rest. Some photographs linger like ghosts, whispering in the language of silence. A forgotten photograph is time's way of proving it never really left. In every photo album, there's one picture you can't look at without breaking. Sometimes the picture develops before the memory does. The stranger in your photo may be the part of yourself you've been running from. Some photos are keys. They unlock emotions you thought were buried forever. A photograph may fade, but the moment it captured will always breathe in memory. The people smiling in old photographs sometimes look like strangers wearing your skin. A photograph can remind you that some moments were never meant to be repeated. Every picture is a reminder that time doesn't stop, it only pauses long enough to haunt you. Some photographs are like letters from the universe, written in light instead of ink. The scariest part of a photo is realizing how much of yourself you've already lost. Photographs are the silent storytellers of lives that once were. The faces in photos change, but the emotions inside them stay eternal. Some photos look like they're waiting for someone to step back into them. A forgotten photo has the power to make yesterday feel like it never left. Photographs prove that the past isn't behind us. It's stored all around us. Some pictures don't bring comfort, only questions you'll never answer. A photograph is proof that you once stood still in a world that never stopped. Some photos smile, but they smile with lies you once told yourself. A photograph doesn't just preserve memory, it also preserves pain. Sometimes the real story of a photo lies in the person standing just outside the frame. Old photographs are reminders that even happiness is temporary. A forgotten photograph is the universe asking, "Do you remember this part of yourself?" Photographs can outlast memory, but they can't outlast longing. Some photos are maps, not to places, but to feelings you left behind. The sharpest pain isn't looking at who is in the photo, but at who isn't anymore. Photographs hold the fragments of time we wish we could stitch back together. Some photos feel heavier than any book because of the stories they keep shut inside. A photograph is a reminder that you can lose people but never lose moments. Some pictures are prisons for emotions you couldn't handle in real time. A forgotten photograph develops like a confession you weren't ready to make. Every photo is a fingerprint of time, unique and impossible to recreate. Some photographs don't capture the moment, they create it. The more you study an old picture, the more it rewrites what you thought you remembered. A photograph freezes more than faces, it freezes regrets too. Some photos reveal truths that memory tried to bury. The scariest thing about a photograph is not the stranger in it, but the stranger you've become. Photographs are time travel tickets with no return. Some photographs are like strangers knocking on your memory, demanding to be let in. A forgotten photo can feel less like nostalgia and more like evidence. Sometimes the picture isn't haunting because of who's in it, but because you don't remember being there. Photographs remind us that the past doesn't disappear. It waits silently for us to return. The most unnerving part of a photo is realizing you're not the only one it remembers. Some pictures develop before your mind has the courage to. A forgotten photograph is proof that fate leaves breadcrumbs in paper and ink. Some photos look like accidents, but they carry too much meaning to be mistakes. A photograph may show you where you were, but it also hints at where you're going. Sometimes the stranger in your photograph feels more familiar than you do. A forgotten photo is less a memory and more a prophecy. The picture you can't explain is the one that changes everything. Some photos whisper, others scream. A photograph is a secret the universe decided you were ready to see. Sometimes the most haunting part of a photo is realizing it was waiting for you. A stranger's face in your picture may not be a stranger at all, just someone you haven't met yet. Some photographs are questions in disguise, waiting for answers you'll never find. A forgotten photograph reminds you that memory doesn't belong to the mind alone. Sometimes the photograph explains nothing but makes everything clear. A photo doesn't lie, but it may reveal a truth you weren't looking for. Some photographs exist to remind you that destiny doesn't forget. A forgotten photo is the past finding its way into your hands again. Some photos are mysteries that don't want solving. The stranger in your photograph might know you better than you know yourself. Some photos return to you, no matter how often you try to lose them. A forgotten photograph is the universe showing you that time keeps receipts. Some photographs feel like they're alive, shifting when you're not looking. A picture is a place you can't revisit, yet it pulls you back again and again. Sometimes the photo shows you not where you were, but where you'll be. The stranger in your photo may not be in your past. They might belong to your future. A forgotten photograph develops when your heart is ready, not when your eyes are. Some photos are warnings printed in light. A photo may hold more than faces, it may hold fate. Sometimes the photograph remembers you before you remember yourself. Some forgotten photos are chapters you didn't realize were part of your story. A stranger in your picture is just time telling you you're not alone. Some photos hold conversations you've never had, but were always meant to. A forgotten photograph is a door disguised as paper. Sometimes the photo shows you not what happened, but what needed to happen. A photograph is the shadow of time that refuses to fade. Some photos are evidence of things you can't explain. A forgotten photograph is proof that the universe watches even when you don't. Some photos are too heavy for frames. The picture you can't remember is the one you'll never forget. Some photographs are the silence between two storms. A forgotten photo is a puzzle piece you didn't know you were missing. Some photos belong to memories you haven't lived yet. A stranger in your photo is not always a stranger. Sometimes it's a guardian. Some photographs feel less like memory and more like a message. A forgotten photograph is destiny printed in ink and light. Some pictures wait for years before they make sense. Some photographs don't capture memories, they reveal mysteries. You can fake a smile in a photo, but the eyes always confess what the soul hides. A photograph is proof that a moment existed, even if memory refuses to. The most haunting pictures are not the ones of ghosts, but of strangers who feel familiar. Sometimes the past doesn't knock. It develops quietly in the dark room of your life. A photo is a frozen truth, and truth never fades as easily as memory. In every photograph is a version of you that will never breathe again, but will always watch. Some photographs capture more than faces. They capture fragments of the soul. The strangest thing about a photo is realizing you're smiling at a time when you were breaking. Photographs don't just age. They hold the parts of you that time has stolen. Every picture you've ever taken is a conversation with your future self. The photo album knows more about who you were than anyone alive today. Some photographs tell stories that the people inside them could never admit aloud. What terrifies us isn't the photo itself. It's the version of us staring back. A photograph never lies, but it doesn't always tell the whole truth. Sometimes the faces you don't recognize in old photos are pieces of yourself you've forgotten. The loneliest moments are captured in pictures where you were surrounded by people. A photograph ages, but the emotions inside it never do. There are photographs you hide not because of who's in them, but because of who you were. A forgotten photograph is a message from a time you didn't know you'd miss. Every photograph is proof that something mattered enough to freeze forever. Some photographs are promises you never got to keep. You don't realize how much you've changed until an old photo whispers it back to you. Photographs remind us that memories can be stolen, but moments cannot. The most haunting pictures are the ones that capture a goodbye disguised as a smile. A photograph doesn't just show who you were, it shows who you pretended to be. Sometimes the picture on the wall holds more history than the people who walk by it. Photographs are proof that silence, too, has a face. Some pictures capture what words never dared to say. In the background of every photo are stories you'll never know. A photograph doesn't ask permission before it remembers. What terrifies us about old photos is not the faces, it's the ghosts of our own reflection. Sometimes you find yourself in a photograph you don't remember taking, and it feels like destiny caught you off guard. Photographs show us that nothing is ever truly gone. It just changes shape. In every box of old pictures are moments that ache to be remembered. Photographs are time travel, but without the choice of where you land. Some photos reveal more in the shadows than in the smiles. A photograph is a pause button on a life that never stops. You don't notice the empty spaces in a picture until the people who filled them are gone. The most painful photographs are the ones that remind you of people who still breathe but no longer belong. A forgotten photograph is a secret that refused to stay buried. Photographs are the diary of the soul, silent but brutally honest. Some photos you keep not for the memory, but for the proof that it was real. The scariest photos aren't of strangers, but of versions of yourself you no longer recognize. A photograph is the shadow of a moment, forever caught in light. Sometimes photographs develop before the story does. A photo taken in joy can later look like a prophecy of sorrow. The older the photograph, the louder it speaks. Some photos don't just capture, they follow. Every photograph you've ever taken is proof that you were once here. A photograph holds the kind of silence words can't describe. Some photos become evidence for a truth you're not ready to face. Photographs are time capsules, but some are locked with secrets. The past isn't dead, it's printed in color and tucked away in boxes. The strangest part of a photograph is that it remembers what you chose to forget. Some photos keep aging even when you don't. Photographs aren't just reflections, they're echoes. In a single picture lies an entire storm of untold feelings. Every photo hides something outside the frame. A photograph is a memory that refuses to let go. Some photos keep secrets in the background. A photograph is a frozen confession. Sometimes the scariest thing is recognizing yourself in someone else's photo. Photographs don't fade, they haunt. Some photos reveal truths you weren't ready to see at the time. A photo album is a graveyard of moments you'll never touch again. Some photographs ache with the silence of what wasn't said. A photograph can outlive the memory it was meant to preserve. The story of a photo often begins where the frame ends. Some photos carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken words. A forgotten photograph is time knocking on your door again. In photographs, smiles never age, but pain always lingers. The most haunting photographs aren't of ghosts, but of living people who feel like strangers now. A photograph is a secret disguised as art. Some photos remind you that forever doesn't exist. The picture you tried to throw away is the one that won't leave you. A photograph never asks for permission to tell the truth. Some photos don't just show the past, they predict the future. Photographs are the language of memory. A forgotten photo is the beginning of a story you didn't know you were part of. Some photographs don't just hold faces, they hold secrets too heavy to carry in words. A photograph is proof that the past is never really gone. It only changes the way it looks at you. The more you stare at an old photo, the more it stares back, demanding to be remembered. Some pictures are louder than voices, echoing stories that were never told aloud. A forgotten photograph can feel like a trapdoor opening into a past you thought was locked. In the stillness of a photograph, you realize how quickly everything moved without you noticing. Sometimes the picture doesn't just capture you, it follows you into the future. A photo is a mirror of who you were, but sometimes it reflects who you still might become. Some photographs arrive too late, reminding you of the people who are already gone. The real weight of a photo isn't the paper, it's the emotions pressed into its silence. Every old picture is an unfinished sentence, daring you to remember the rest. Some photographs linger like ghosts, whispering in the language of silence. A forgotten photograph is time's way of proving it never really left. In every photo album, there's one picture you can't look at without breaking. Sometimes the picture develops before the memory does. The stranger in your photo may be the part of yourself you've been running from. Some photos are keys. They unlock emotions you thought were buried forever. A photograph may fade, but the moment it captured will always breathe in memory. The people smiling in old photographs sometimes look like strangers wearing your skin. A photograph can remind you that some moments were never meant to be repeated. Every picture is a reminder that time doesn't stop, it only pauses long enough to haunt you. Some photographs are like letters from the universe, written in light instead of ink. The scariest part of a photo is realizing how much of yourself you've already lost. Photographs are the silent storytellers of lives that once were.